what we're doing here today is we're having the first of a series of town hall meetings where our only goal is to provide information for the public to make a decision. This is through the leadership efforts of our Mayor, Richard Molina, and the entire City Council. This is something that we wanted to provide as an option to the residents of Edinburg. So what we're looking at here for the upcoming election is ballot A, B, C, and D. But the main questions that we're getting right now are concerning C and D, and we have a video to present for that. So can we start that video?
On November 6th, you'll have an opportunity to make your voice count in the 2018 general elections. It's critical that you have a clear understanding of what you are voting on and its potential impact on our community and the City of Edinburg at large. The City Council has left it up to you, the voter, to decide whether you want to pass a $30 million package of bond propositions. This authorization to borrow funds will help pay for drainage and street projects. We hope this information gives you some better insight into the bond package so that you can see what may align with your vision for our city. So let's begin with what's on the ballot. Proposition C is all about drainage. To understand what these drainage projects will do and how they will work, you first need to understand our current drainage situation. All rainwater in Edinburg drains into the Hidalgo County drainage system. So does McAllen, Mission, Palmview, and even parts of La Jolla. All of the water that comes from the areas west of Edinburg come through our city. The water flows north through a system of ditches and canals, and then east to the Raymondville Drain in Willacy County. Willacy County controls the levees where the Raymondville Drain opens to the Laguna Madre. And when that system is full of water, Willacy County officials may determine to close the levee so that the outfall doesn't erode away. When the levee is closed, it backs up the entire system, causing water to back up into subdivisions in our city. That's what happened in June when much of western Hidalgo County and Edinburg flooded. Proposition C will create 4 detention ponds. That means when there is an extensive rain event, the city can divert water into local holding ponds in order to alleviate the strain on the Hidalgo County drainage system and keep excess water from flooding our neighborhoods. We already have 4 detention ponds in our city. During our last major rain events in 2016 and in June of this year, the Chapin Regional Detention Pond served as a holding place for all the rainwater overflow in that area. Those surrounding neighborhoods did not flood. Proposition C allows for the purchase of land and the construction of 4 more detention ponds in the following areas. Doolittle Road and East University Drive. This pond will alleviate flooding in the area that you see in yellow. The estimated price tag for that project is about $7,400,000. Veterans Boulevard and Alberta Road. This pond will alleviate flooding in the area that you see in yellow and by extension, the neighborhoods that are nearby. The estimated price tag for that project is about $3,900,000. Sugar Road and Iron Gate Drive. This pond would alleviate flooding in the area that you see in yellow. The estimated price tag is about $3,600,000. SCHUNIOR Street and St. Augustine Street. This pond would alleviate flooding in the area you see in yellow. The estimated price tag is about $5,100,000. Together, these detention ponds would take much of the strain off of the Hidalgo County drainage system, lessening the flood risk throughout the city. The grand total for all of these projects is $20,206,413.05. If passed, that means that you will pay an additional $44.13 annually. That comes out to $3.68 a month. Proposition D is about roadway improvements. There are 4 items included in this proposal. First is construction on Alberta Road from Klausner Boulevard to the west city limit. The road will be widened in some areas with 4 lanes divided with a turning lane. The drainage, curbs, and gutters will all be improved and sidewalks will be added. Second on the list is SCHUNIOR Road from Klausner Boulevard to Monmac Road. Sections of this road will also be widened. There will also be improvements of drainage, curbs, and gutters with new sidewalks. The other two items on the list do not pay for construction, but they do ensure the city can expand and improve the roads in the future. You can't build roads if you don't have the land. Items 3 and 4 are for right-of-way acquisition on North Sugar Road and North Jackson Road. Purchasing additional right-of-way ensures that the city can expand each thoroughfare when it's needed as the city continues to grow. The total cost for all 4 of those projects is $9,985,134. If passed, that means you'll be paying additionally $22.05 a year, and that comes out to $1.84 a month. That's it. 2 propositions, 8 city projects. The decision is yours. Please remember, these are 2 individual propositions. Voters will be asked to consider each of these propositions separately. Early voting runs from October 22nd through November 2nd, and Election Day is Tuesday, November 6th.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was the video that hopefully explains some of the factual details that we have. At this time, we'd like to open it up for any questions or comments that you guys have. If not, please feel free to come up to the poster themselves, and we'll be here to answer any questions you guys might have. So some of y'all are okay with talking in public, and if you guys would like to not be so open, that is fine as well. Feel free to come reach out and talk to us. Is there a presentation? Okay, so I guess before we open that up, then we have, come on over, SDI, or what's the official? Okay, we have the engineering firm SDI that's going to go ahead and present the 2018 bond election public information session. So I want to remind the public once again that this is the one of 4 events. The first one is here at City Hall. The second one will take place at the Memorial Library tomorrow at 6 p.m. as well. The third one will be at the World Birding Center on Wednesday, 6 p.m. as well. And then the fourth one will be at one of our local churches on Thursday. For more information on this, please ensure that you go to City of Edinburg website where all of the information will be provided. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra. My name is Isael Posadas. I am an engineer with the SDI Engineering, a local firm in Edinburg. Ms. Zayas did a great job in her video explaining the projects that we have under Proposition C. I've been asked to come and go into a little more detail about the projects and explain how the projects relate to the overall drainage system in Edinburg. I'm a former city engineer in Edinburg for 6 years, from 2004 to 2010. Since then, I've been with the firm 8 years, my own firm, and worked almost 90% of the time in Edinburg. So I wanted to go ahead and explain a little bit more detail with the presentation. This is a public information session, so it's meant to just explain a little bit more about the projects. So this is the same graphic that you saw in the video, and as it was presented, yes, all of Western Hidalgo County, or most of Western Hidalgo County, actually have a drainage system that's relied upon through the county system that runs through Edinburg, through what's called the North Main Drain and the South Main Drain. And I'm going to show you a graphic. The water actually comes as far as La Jolla and runs north and through Edinburg. And some of the interesting facts about that is, this graphic right here is an aerial picture. This area on the westmost is Goodwin Road in near La Jolla. That elevation, and I've got some numbers up here, that elevation is 204 feet above sea level. In 14 miles of ditches before it gets to Edinburg, it drops 100 feet. That's at a rate of about 8 feet per mile. You get to Edinburg, just on the westernmost part of Edinburg, we're at 125. In another 4 miles, it drops 30 feet. And then through Edinburg, in 4 miles, it only drops about 4 or 5 feet. So it goes from running 7 or 8 feet per mile to within half a mile per or half a foot per mile within city limits. And then that water travels all the way out to sea or through the various drainage systems in the county at a rate of about 1.9 feet per mile. Now that's significant because what that means is all the western areas that are at much higher elevation get to this city first, and we're having to compete with that water to get our water out. So part of the purpose of the project now is for us to do our part in addressing holding our water and giving the county system a chance to be relieved through a series of detention ponds. The county is going through their own bond election right now as well. And in this graphic, I'm showing you the Raymondville drain and how it affects city limits, because a lot of people have asked, hey, isn't the county already doing something about drainage? You know, do we need to do our own? And the answer is yes, there are gaps there. They are not addressing the drainage issues within our city. So the Raymondville drain is on the north side of town. These are the ones that directly or most directly affect us. They've got another project called the Fayetteville drain. It affects an area north of us that's always had flooding issues near the county system. And then finally, there's the J08 drain. That drain actually is to alleviate a problem near the ROOTH Road and mile 17 and a half intersections. But what that does is actually creates a more efficient way for the water to get from the west into town. So we are going to have to do something about our own water in a more effective way. And one of the last pictures I'll show you addresses that. And there is that J08 drain there. That's a part of the county system. So in here, what we show is the blue lines being part of the county system, and up here, the yellow line, again, part of the county system. And then we have our own series of drain ditches throughout the city. This graphic shows you the usual suspects. This is the areas that throughout the city, when we have hard rains like we have had in the past, this is where we're having to pump. This is where we have to close roads. This is where, you know, the major issues really occur. And this graphic is just from the 2 rain events that we had in June and earlier a few weeks ago here. So what has the city done? Before I talk about the bond project, I want to tell you about some of the projects that are ongoing right now that address drainage and how that relates to our bond election. So first, there was the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant. This is a 75-25 grant, and the first one addresses the area around Stonecrest and Glasscock. This is the area around Edinburg North High School. This is actually a project under design. I know that school has been under design because it is a very low area. You know, you get to within the school site, you're about elevation of 90. You travel about 300 feet west, and you're at about 105, or I'm sorry, about 95 or 97. So it's about 7-foot drop in difference. We do have pockets within Edinburg that are much lower than others. So the city's already doing something to address that. Then you have the Dawson and Stadium Drive. If you've been to any of the games during seasons when it's rainy, that's an area that has historically flooded. That's being addressed through this grant, this FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant. And then the city also went out for certificates of obligation bonds. The Old Town Site Southeast, that's about $1.4 million. Old Town Site South Central, $2.6 million. That's under design. Old Town Site Northeast, around the Coon area, $600,000. And then today was a bid opening for the Memorial Middle School area, $500,000 in drainage improvements out there. Now these systems, what they're doing, these are conveyance systems. The idea here is to bring in piping so that we get the water off the streets and into the nearest drains. Now how does that relate to our certificate, to our Proposition C bond election? The first one is the Doolittle Detention Pond, about $7.4 million. This is how it relates to that area. So yes, we are already doing something to provide conveyance. These projects in this election is to find a place for the water to sit and be held other than in people's backyards, other than the streets, and other than inside homes, until we can rely on the county system, because regardless, we still rely on the county system, and that county system is taxed because it comes all the way out from from the western Hidalgo County. And this is the area for that section is between Klausner, Freddy, and Expressway 281. And then we had Veterans Detention Pond, which is a southeast portion of town. Again, near some of the usual suspects where we have issues. That's a $3.9 million project, and that's encompassed in the area around Veterans and Alberta and Owassa. You can tell we do have drainage ditches already in the area, but this is a way for us to hold back some of that water before we convey to the county system. And then Sugar Road Detention Pond, that's $3.6 million. That's in the area around Wisconsin, Jackson, and Sugar Road. And finally, the SCHUNIOR Detention Pond, $5.1 million. That's in the area around 107 and Sprague and Monmac. This is a graphic of one of the last rains that we experienced here. I believe this one's from June. This is that entire area there. There is already a ditch, so it's not a matter of not having ditches nearby. It's a matter of not having a way to hold back that water. That is just too much water. And sometimes we don't experience the flooding until 2 days later. There have been instances where the rain is over, and a day and a half later, all of a sudden, Edinburg starts to flood. This is right in front of the university. This is, again, I believe in the June event, this year's events. And this is the area, this is an example, this is the J08 drain. This is over on Ruth and mile 17 and a half. We've got a middle school and our elementary school, Edinburg school system. The J08 drain is designed to alleviate all the backing up the water in this ditch here. The problem is when you have all that water, this ditch system could not handle the water, so everything actually backed up through the drains, working its way backward, and created all this flooding. So it's not necessarily that the water fell in these areas, it's that it fell in a basin that ended up in these areas. So again, our goal here with these projects is to provide a place for the water to be held until the county system can be relieved, can have flow. And then we can better mitigate the waters. So Proposition C, between all those projects, $20,206,000. Again, a repeat of what was in the video, $44 a year or $368 a month. That's based on a home valuation of $120,321. Now the roadway projects. Again, for the first two projects, Alberta and SCHUNIOR, those are actual construction dollars. And for Jackson and Sugar, that's right-of-way acquisition. Between those projects, $9.9 million. Again, a cost of $22.05 a year or $1.84 a month, based on the same home valuation. And that's our presentation.
We'll be here to answer any questions you guys might have offline. Thank you very much.